Greetings everyone, welcome to another segment of Recovery TV. Carrie and I are here today and we're going to continue our holiday discussion on characters that we recognize during the Christmas holidays that we tend to love and enjoy, but we're going to analyze them a little bit differently. And so today we're going to just talk briefly about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And so Rudolph is a character that we would probably be shocked if we were to go an entire holiday season without seeing Rudolph somewhere on someone's lawn or rooftop, or hearing the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is probably one of the first songs we learn as a kid. And so he's I think historically been a Christmas character that brings a lot of joy and delight to the holiday season.
He's very endearing.
And so something we might not think about is Rudolph is kind of been upheld as a hero to the underdogs.
And
so a character that persevered and overcame struggles and ended up being recognized as a pillar of the North Pole and Christmas and Santa and reindeer across the board. So
he became the leader.
Exactly. So much of what we know about Rudolph is from the song, and maybe from the holiday movie that came out, which was made after the song was released. And so there's some interesting things about Rudolph, though, that Carrie and I are going to talk about that maybe you've thought about, maybe you haven't thought about. And so one of the things that is interesting about Rudolph is that he seems to be a victim of bullying.
So. He's excluded from reindeer games, with his peers and his friends because he's different. And the part that I even get emotional about is even when the coach says you can't join in the reindeer games, His differences exclude him not just from his peers, but even from his whole social group, from the top down.
Exactly. And one of the bothersome pieces for me about the story of Rudolph is that he has a deformity, which is his glowing red nose. And it's not until they find use for his nose that he's accepted into the reindeer club or into that inner circle. And there's some problems with that in the message being sent in real life, that we don't want to be loved or to be rejected until someone finds use for us. We want to be loved despite of our flaws and imperfections. And so Rudolph really does experience what a lot of people go through in terms of bullying when they're different than everybody else, or they have differences that stand out. And kind of wonder what the lasting effects were for Rudolph. Of course, we don't have that part of the story.
No, the story ends well, of course.
Seemingly, we don't hear much of anything after
happily ever after.
I mean, was there any more foggy nights that he led the sleigh? We don't know what happens after that foggy night. So, but in real life, people do suffer from lasting effects of bullying, and so, and that tends to play out even in their adult lives. And as therapists, we have seen this over and over again.
So we see it in relationships primarily because you and I are relationship therapists, so that's mostly what we're working on. And we'll see it in relationship choices, choice of partner, how you interact, how you handle conflict, how you imagine resolution of that conflict and accepting of differences of opinion, values, etc. And so this is where a lot of times after we've been working with people, we get to start getting their whole story. How did this pattern start? Was there a theme of bullying, a theme of rejection, a fear or an experience of being different? Exactly.
And one of the common phenomenons we see from events like this or traumatic experiences is a form of compulsive attachment that we call trauma bonding or traumatic bonding. Some of you might know what Stockholm Syndrome is, which is an extreme form of trauma bonding where someone that is in a captive situation, like a hostage type situation, attaches to the person who is holding them hostage or captive. But there are lesser forms of that that we see commonly because of traumatic experiences. And Rudolph, in his story, is compelled to be friends and to be a part of this crowd who is constantly mistreating him. You know, and people who are trauma bonders, that tends to be the pattern, one of the patterns that they exhibit.
So you'll see this in relationships where you continue to pick people that don't treat you well, or that you're never going to get the level of commitment or intimacy that in theory you want. But there's a pattern of the types of people that you pick that aren't going to actually give you the healthy goal that you have in mind. You're bonding to people that will continue to send you that same message of rejection, not good enough, etc.
And you know, if you dive deep into the psychosis of it, a lot of it is just reliving the traumatic experiences that you had relationally. And so if that seems to fit with you, if you're watching this and that's really resonating with you, then it might be worth visiting with a counselor about that. Like if you look back upon your relational history and feel like I am attracted and feel compelled to be a part of people's lives who really aren't good for me, or they mistreat me, but for some reason I'm just drawn to them. There might be more there that you're dealing with and might need a little help with on that.
It's an important exploration to figure out why are you seeking the love and connection with other people when you really aren't getting love and connection with other people, And a lot of times that goes way back. And that's not easy to unpack, to change, and to address. And so, you know, having a therapist or a counselor or somebody to help you with that process is probably going to be a fruitful experience.
So this holiday season, we want you to do a couple things, and the first thing is we want you to take care of yourself. You owe it to yourself, and you deserve it to take care of yourself. But we also want you to remember the underdog, that there are a lot of people, if it's not you, there's a lot of people that are suffering this holiday season, that are feeling rejected and could use a friend, a friend that's good for them, a friend that treats them well, and doesn't judge them for their flaws or shortcomings.
The message of acceptance. Join us just because we want you to join us. And we can probably always find somebody to extend that to at this time of year.
So we just want to wish you well this holiday season, and we hope that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you click the bell so that you can receive notifications when we post new videos. And so we wish you all the blessings that you could possibly have this season.
Yes, happy holidays.